one of the main reasons why I'm an advocate for medicinal mushrooms is because in order to reach the level of the depth that you need to go inside in order to discover that thing about yourself that connects you to everything else, um, you need to either be a monk and understand that it is possible, or you need to be accidentally enlightened, which can be with a large amount of mushrooms or something of that nature, because when it comes down to it, there's a level of depth that you have to get to that just is just purely uncomfortable with your everyday waking mind. It's just purely uncomfortable, and it's something where you consciously will not allow yourself to go. You will not allow yourself to surrender enough to be able to go to the depth that you need to go to in order to be able to heal yourself from the trauma. So what the medicine does is it just kind of like, it's like a snowplow, and it just blasts through that that feeling where there's no looking back, and you just blast through it. And once you blast through it, you realize that it was only you holding yourself back anyways. And then you start going deep into the level of understanding of what you is. Now that right there is when the penny truly drops, because when you go inside and you truly discover what's deep inside you, the ramifications are just, it's indescribable. It's unspeakable. It's the word God without even being able to put words to it. It's beyond that. And when you tap into that, you realize that existence and life is much more than we've ever been told.
Do you believe that you could have uh, been as successful as a mixed martial artist if you were consuming mushrooms when you won the title? Or did you have to be naive where you didn't go deep? Like, do you believe it could have coexisted and you could have been successful? Or uh,
Um,
have you thought about that?
I have. I feel like a part of me believes that I needed to be asleep
Great way to put it.
in my under to be asleep in my understanding of life, because on the other side of it, there's a level of pureness to it that I wish that I could have experienced it. And by that I mean this, like, on one side of it, I was blind to the true understanding of what I thought life was, right? But I operated in that understanding belief that I thought life was to the fullest extent, to the point where I achieved something great, right? But on the other side of that is that now that I had this understanding, the fuel and the mindset that I had that got me to there, I felt like maybe it would have been a little bit more inexhaustible fuel if I was mentally pulling from where I am right now. And by that, I mean this. Before, when I was competing, when I was still operating on the understanding of life that I thought I knew,
Right.
I would compete based on the trauma that I've stored up in my life. And I would use that trauma as fuel. But through life and through competition, I kind of healed myself. And I wasn't able to draw on that reservoir of pain anymore, because that reservoir of pain slowly but surely kind of dried up
Wow.
as I grew in life, as my understanding grew in life, as I worked through the traumas that hurt me in life. But then once I got on the other side of all of that, after I had, you know, my time away from the sport, after I had my time away from figuring out who I am, after I had my mental breakthroughs, I decided to compete again. but I competed from a different point of view. I competed from the point of view of just being grateful that I can do it. And it wasn't even about anything else, but it was just about me having the grace to compete, having the health to compete. And that was the maximum of my effort. I'm going to give my max effort. You know why? No other reason why than I can. I am blessed to, and it's required of me because I'm blessed. I'm blessed to let it come out. So I enjoyed it from a different point of view than I did from, when I didn't, when I was operating in a different mind space.
It's crazy, man. The last time we did anything on the record was pre UFC 235 with none other than John Bones Jones facing Anthony Smith, one of your coworkers.
Yeah.
I also want to talk with one of your coworkers about one of your coworkers, Bilal Muhammad. He's got a big opportunity on the horizon, and about how his religion, I believe, could be a secret weapon to everything. Um, but John Jones, fast forward 5 years, I've now that I've gotten older, I've see he seems confused, and everybody. I had this not an argument, but a discussion with somebody. I said, I believe fighting is keeping him tied down. And they said, no, no, fighting is keeping him alive. And I said, no, no, no.
Mm.
I believe that the fighting brings out that trauma or that rage, some type of fire, and that he can't truly find peace until he puts the gloves down in the octagon and walk away.
Mm.
What is, and it's
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep.
it's
That's
scary
deep.
because he brings up God. John Jones brings up God a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's like 3 months earlier, we saw him in the news for different headlines. And it's like, I feel like two things are fighting at the same time.
Hmm.
And it's nothing we could see, if you catch what I'm saying. And
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, him working through his demons, and we all got those demons, and we fight them in different ways. And
right,
it seems that he's getting better fighting his demons, and it seems that one of the biggest things in helping him fight his demons was him accepting himself. And I feel like
what
the
do you mean? What do
more
you
we
mean?
see, well, he's always tried to have this persona where he wanted us to believe that he was, more in line with the spiritual beliefs than his actions would dictate, right?
Right.
So he would always try to, be on the God tip. But the truth of the matter
What
is
was
the
his
fact that
walkout song? God gave me style, right?
God gave me style. Yeah. So I mean, he's definitely um he wants to walk that anointed God path and things like that, but his life and the things that he does is in contradiction to that. And now he's to the point where I feel like he knows that everyone knows who he truly is, in a sense where, not saying that he's a bad person, but John's gonna be John. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And
Right.
and I feel like people have have a special place for, like, yeah, we love John. We know he's a great fighter, but sometimes he doesn't make the best decisions in life, and people are accepting him more than they've ever accepted him. I feel like the fight when he fought um, Cyril Gahn was true testament. That was the most I've ever seen John Jones get his flowers ever,
Hmm.
and people really came out. They had shirts with his mug face, his mug shot on it, and really
Ooh.
showing that they. But you know what though? They showing that they accept him. You know what I'm saying? Like when Bill Gates came out with Microsoft, they trying to compete with Apple, and they did a campaign called "I'm a PC," and on that campaign, they had a shirt of Bill Gates, which I wore when I fought Chuck Liddell, which was a mugshot of Bill Gates, which was meant to kind of make him look cool, make him look more relatable,
Was it a
making
real
him.
mugshot? He got in
It was a
trouble?
real mugshot. Yeah, he got arrested in Albuquerque.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Hanging out with
so
John Jones in Albuquerque? Oh my God.
telling you, Albuquerque's that spot. So I feel like with John Jones, I feel like now, he realizes that he can just be himself, and I feel he's more into himself now than ever. But now he's more of himself now than ever. But now, you know, time is cutting off. Time is, is almost the end. And how does he hang out? How does he say goodbye to a career when essentially this is, it's such a huge part of his legacy and who he is? And what happens when that spotlight leaves him? What happens when his legacy fades, even though he's arguably the greatest fighter to ever do it, but your legacy does fade. You know what I'm saying? The dust does get on gold, and when that happens, what is that going to truly reveal about his life, and what is that going to reveal about, who he truly is and why, he kept having those things in his life. I only hope that the best for him. I only hope that things work out for him in the best way, and I hope that, you know, he's he's grown past those points and he stops being his own worst nightmare.